Commissioners meeting. Board of Commissioners meeting for October 15, 2024. I'm calling the meeting to order. May I please have a roll call to start?
Commissioner Drick.
Here.
Commissioner Helserman.
Here.
Commissioner Domas.
Yes.
Commissioner Sample.
Here.
Commissioner Nakagiri.
Here.
Commissioner Deaton.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Fiani.
Here.
Commissioner Gross.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you. Item number 3 on the agenda is call to the public. Do you have any cards?
I do.
Proceed.
I do have one card. Judy Dobbenmeyer, Genoa Township.
Ma'am, come up. If you prefer to sit or stand, it's your choice. Just be near a microphone. When you're ready, you may begin.
Good evening. My name is Judy Dobbenmeyer, and I do live in Genoa Township. Recently, our Democratic candidates for County Commission suggested at a candidate forum that the county should spend a little more on public transportation than the $65,000 in local funds that it does spend on LETs. Afterwards, one of the current commissioners called our candidate a liar for pointing that out. And the same commissioner told me that I was a radical who doesn't deserve to, quote, soak up all the benefits of living on a lake in Livingston County while, quote, contributing nothing, and I should move to Ann Arbor. I don't think suggesting spending more for LETs is a particularly radical thing, and it certainly doesn't amount to something that means I should be banished from the county. I was taken aback by the commissioner's remarks because I am his constituent, and I don't think elected officials should talk to constituents that way. But also because since I do own a home on a lake, I have paid tens of thousands of dollars in property taxes over the last 3.5 decades. And I think that counts as contributing something. And since he brought up my home ownership, I think it's important to note that the commissioner speaking with me owns no property in Livingston County. And as far as I can tell, has never paid a dime in property taxes here. In the Republican way of thinking, that makes him a tax taker, not a taxpayer. I also told him that at least I don't still live with my parents, and he denied that he did so, even though that is where he's registered to vote. If not at that address, where does he live? Does he live in Livingston County? Has he committed voter fraud by not living where he is registered to vote? The encounter begs the larger question. If a tax-paying resident doesn't deserve to live in Livingston County, who does? What is your definition of a deserving resident? You don't seem to want Black people. You don't seem to want brown people. You don't seem to want poor people. You don't seem to want immigrants. You don't seem to want a white woman who pays taxes. Who deserves to live here? Who deserves to be your neighbor? I think you need to clarify that for the public. And by the way, I'm not going anywhere. Thank you.
Stephanie Miklas from Howell.
Stephanie Miklos, City of Howell. And I would like to just say that I'm as a 25-year resident of this county, as a tax-paying resident, obviously we deserve basic minimum standards here. I question whether you'll maintain that kind of bond rating with your antics here and your flirting with the legality of different so-called constitutional resolutions you pass. Yeah, that's pretty a low blow there. And also I'd invite the deacon of Antrim Church to stop visiting my house, my 2 homes on Maple Street. I'm not gonna have a very holy unchristian thing, which was passing your resolution on the 23rd. I'm not having someone who's part of that Gestapo come to my house anymore with some kind of Christian pamphlet, because it's obviously echoes a lot of what happened in the 30s. Sorry, it's the truth. It's history. So yeah, pretty disgusting that you just make fun of people that are different than you, go after someone who chooses to live a different lifestyle. There's more than one commissioner here guilty of it. One commissioner made a metaphor of a cockroach to describe a librarian in Fowlerville who I know nothing about, but I found it really unprofessional, and that was maybe a couple years ago. Oh gosh, last week you said schools get funding based on vaccination numbers. And that the Health Advisory Committee, which you cherry picked, insurrectionists on them, just all around interesting people. Anyway, I can see them recommending it, but the health department, the one that you denied the, FOIA survey results, you think our health department is not recommending vaccinations? Is that their decision or is it yours? I mean, that's a question I have. So, yeah. Thank you.
I
Any
have
other
no,
cards?
I have no further cards.
And Zoom. Anybody have your hand up on Zoom?
I do not see any, Commissioner.
Neither do I. In that case, we've exhausted the call to the public. It's now closed. Item number 4 is approval of tonight's agenda.
I move to approve this evening's agenda with the addition of the resolution declaring official intent to issue bonds to finance the cost of acquiring, constructing, equipping improvements to the septic receiving station, and the resolution authorizing a vision tour appropriation and the advancement of general funds to purchase 264 REUs from Tyrone Township as resolutions for consideration, which would be the new item number 5.
I'll second that sample.
And for clarity, there was a FAM agenda from tonight, October 15, and on page 2, the 2 resolutions just referred to were 9.2 entitled DPW Solid Waste and 9.3 DPW Solid Waste.
Just to clarify, will accounts payable reports move to number 6? You want resolutions as number 5, resolutions for consideration, and then you want accounts payable reports as now 6?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
And then that would make our number 6 call to the public bumped up 1, same with closed session, bumped up 1, ending with adjournment 9. We're on the same page?
Correct.
Good deal.
Thank you.
There's an amendment that's been proposed with a second. Is there any discussion?
Was it actually an amendment? It was just the approval.
Seeing none.
Oh, Wes raised his hand.
Oh, excuse me. Thank you for pointing that out.
So are we amending the agenda to add 2 resolutions, these 2 that were voted on, or did it get combined into one?
It would be, so my proposal is 2 separate resolutions that would be independently voted upon.
Okay. All right.
So it's 5A and 5B.
That's correct.
Okay.
And just for my clarification, it's not an amendment. I have it as
I
the
get it.
adopted of the, okay,
Yes.
just making sure
misspoke.
I have that correct.
It's an addition. That's what
Yes,
it is.
correct.
With that understanding, continue.
I just have a comment for later. I think the title of the resolution, that first one is resolution, it's currently titled Resolution Declaring Official Intent to Issue Bonds to Finance the Cost of Acquiring, Constructing, Equipping Improvements to the Septic Receiving Station. Later, I would advocate, and I will amend the title, so it's the resolution to declare the kind of official intent to issue bonds to finance the REU purchases from Tyrone and the MOA fee to Heartland. Just so have consistency and less confusing for future boards. So,
But you'll be good with a little bit later having
Yes.
that particular wording.
yes.
Very good. With that understanding, any further comment, discussion? All those in favor of the agenda as amended, kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The vote is 9-0 approving. We are now at 5A, which is the resolution declaring official intent to issue bonds.
I move to approve the resolution declaring official intent to issue bonds to finance the cost of acquiring, constructing, and equipment improvements to the septic receiving station.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Fiani, support by Commissioner Domas. Thank you. You have the floor.
All right, yes, gentlemen, this here is a longstanding issue that we've been working on diligently. It's part of the consent judgment. And this is needed so that way we can then go with BPW and have them do a resolution for support and recommendation to approve the bonding to complete the consent judgment. Definitely need to get it moving fast. So I highly encourage your positive vote on it tonight, and happy to answer any questions.
Any discussion? Commissioner Nakagiri.
I'm going to make a motion to amend the title of the resolution. So it'd be, I hate to do this to our clerk. I'll give you the official intent to issue bonds to finance the cost of purchasing REUs from Tyrone Township and paying fee as specified in the master operating agreement to Heartland Township, and I'll write that out for the clerk here.
Commissioner Smith.
Just a potential friendly amendment where it says the cost of acquiring. You add the REUs and payment of the MOA there and be almost like an insert before that comma.
The comma after acquiring.
Acquiring REUs.
Okay. Yeah, yes. So acquiring REUs from Tyrone Township and paying fee as specified in the master operating agreement to Heartland Township. I like that better.
Okay, just to make sure I have it correct, it's a motion to amend after acquiring, purchasing REUs from Tyrone Township and paying the fee as specified in the MOA to Heartland Township.
So after acquiring,
Mhm.
it'll be acquiring REUs from
Okay.
Tyrone Township and paying fee as specified in the master operating agreement to Heartland Township.
Okay. All right. And that's just for the title of the resolution.
So we all know that the title to the resolution is being amended. Any comment or discussion?
I have a motion, but I don't have support.
I'll second.
Yep, that's where I
Okay.
said it. So we have motion and support, Nakagiri and Gross. Any discussion? Thank you for that friendly amendment. All those in favor, voice vote for the amendment. Kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 9-0, the amendment passes. Now we're to the meat of the entire resolution. Any discussion?
Does this need to be a roll call vote?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a good plan.
Pardon?
That's a good plan.
Yeah.
Thank you. When you're ready, you have the floor.
Commissioner Fiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Domas,
Yes.
Commissioner Sample,
Yes.
Commissioner Nakagiri.
Yes.
Commissioner Drick,
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We're on to Resolution 5B, which is the resolution authorizing a vision tour appropriation and the advancement of general funds to purchase 264 REUs from Tyrone Township. Can I get a motion?
I move to approve the resolution.
Support Gross.
Motion by Fiani to approve, support by Commissioner Gross. Any discussion, amendments, difficulty, objections? Commissioner Nakagiri.
I just want to clarify that in the break of discussion with Commissioner Fiani and Mr. Irvin. So we're going to advance, we're getting a bond issued for 6.2 million. Part of the proceeds will be used for Tyrone Township REUs. Part of the proceeds will be used for the fee required by the master operating agreement paid to Heartland Township. So because of time urgency, we in the county are going to use 3 million. We're going to pay the Heartland or the Tyrone Township REU fee because the bonds aren't going to be issued in time. So when we get the bonds issued and when we get the 6.2 million, about half of that's going to go to Heartland Township for the master operating agreement fee. I'm just stating this to make sure everybody's on the same page. The other half is going to be used to reimburse the county for our advancement of the approximately $3 million to Tyrone. It doesn't say that in this resolution, but that is what it should be. In the conversation with Mr. Irvin, he had mentioned, wanting to get funding for the odor control. I think we're putting, it just complicates an already complicated issue. And if funding is needed for odor control, it should be, in my view, a separate resolution coming before the board. I mean, we've got this consent agreement with Heartland Township. It spells out what we need to do. Now we're throwing in something else that wasn't never, in my view, part of the consent agreement. It's totally different addition, and I just wanted to share that thought.
So I think what you're getting at is for this amount that we're gonna spend it and then we're gonna get it back. But some of that we get back, we could put it into there directly without paying interest on it for 20 years.
We could, if that
it-
was the will of the board.
But so if we're getting most of this money back and we're agreeable to this, why have that much money that we don't need to be paying on for 30 years if it's just gonna come back to us and we're gonna, it makes, it makes sense that we borrow or bond as little as we have to, and that most of this is coming back to us. If we take off, what's it, 600,000? Is that the difference for the odor control? How much is
So the odor control right now, the last preliminary that I got on it was between 1.5 and 1.8 million after our study. Now we're trying to dwindle that down. We're hoping to get around the 800,000 range. I should have the preliminary cost analysis on that within the next month.
But this bond is covering the higher amount.
We put everything in there. That way it was one bond issuance, and then we made sure that we were gonna be able to cover it and hit those
But we're
objectives.
getting that money back from this bond, right? So if we're getting the money back from the bond, why do we have, if we're gonna get money back, why do we have to pay 20 years bonding on money that we're just gonna get back and put into another thing? Do we need to do that? you know, Cindy in the books and that sort of thing. You know how we wash money from here to there and we're all happy about it, you know, and it's good. Is what I'm saying makes sense to,
I'm actually
Don't say
confused.
wash, it sounds like money
Yeah,
laundering.
I'm confused, but what I would like to note simply is that this is just the intent. So as we proceed forward, I think there's gonna be more ongoing discussions between the BPW, Mr. Irvin, and the chair of the SIPSID committee to solidify the how the payments are taking place.
Are you trying to say, Commissioner Hilsman, that just advance, not even do a loan, a bond for that 3,036,000 to Tyrone Township and then just have that part of the payment terms back to the county?
yeah,
Is that what
so is it that are we gonna get paid back over time or are we getting a lump sum? Cause it looks like somebody said something about we're getting 1.6.
We get it back in a lump sum as you sell the bonds.
When we sell,
But I get what you're saying is if we have the money to pay it, why not just pay it, not pay interest on the
yeah,
bonds?
that's
I
kind of
understand.
my question,
I-
what, you know,
I get
if we
where
can,
he's
you
at, but I mean,
know. but I'm happy to do it either way, but, you know, but.
One of the, if I may, one of the things I think I'm desirous of, hopefully, my colleagues would see the same way. I'm really desirous of understanding and being able to show what the total cost of this agreement is, the consent agreement. So now we're putting in, you know, this, into this resolution, the odor control, which has nothing to do with the consent agreement. So if we want history to reflect what it cost us to do this consent agreement, then we have to do some addition and subtraction or whatever math to back out the odor control. I think we, from a transparency standpoint, I would advocate that we keep these as two separate things.
Right now, we're at about 6.7 million between the 3,618,000 to Heartland and the 3,036,000 to Tyrone. 2028, 4 years after the agreement was signed, will be the equalization basin that's roughly estimated at $3 million. So the total cost of it then would be about 9.7.
out of curiosity, how far below the action level are you on the cent?
Say again?
You said you're below the action level, so you're not elevated where you have to take action for the odor control. So how far below it are you?
We're about, if you get right on a unit, like on the press itself, if you were to sit over the mixer on it and get close to it, you're gonna be right over it. But then you have your time that you can be exposed.
Right.
Within the building itself, we're about 6 parts, 7 parts on average.
Are you below it because you mitigate the time exposure level, or are you using an 8-hour action level?
We have 8 hour
Yeah.
is where we're at on it. The other thing with it is that we're trying to keep it ventilated as much as possible. The other component to it as well is we do have an air quality permit there. And so that's part of the outdoor portion of it and pulling off the tanks also to ensure that we can stay in compliance with that.
Is the mitigation an all or nothing aspect? So could you do 800, or you do it half as good at 400,000, or is it like an all or nothing?
It's kind of an all or nothing.
Yeah.
In a way. I mean, if we fail on our air quality, then we're gonna get a corrective action plan and then we have to go down that route. And right now we have the ball in our court to be able to ensure that we're doing the right thing.
Yeah,
and
get
taking care
ahead of it or be forced to do it anyway.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, and then the big thing on it for me, as far as for operationally and staff wise, is taking care of the equipment and the staff. You know, right, like I said earlier, we got 3-weight steel that's already been corroding pretty heavily.
Does it get affected by intake? If the intake's lower, is the action level, I mean, does the levels go down, or is it kind of always there?
It's kind of always there, and it just depends on how much process you're doing. As it gets agitated, you know, anything, just like you grab a can of Coke, you agitate it up, you're gonna get more of the CO2 out of it. So same thing with H2S.
Okay.
So as you process and you're doing 260 gallons a minute on it and you're agitating it, it's gonna come out a solution.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you that it should be done separately, but it's probably something's gonna have to be It's gonna have to be taken care of one way or another.
Yeah, I would, I appreciate your comments, Commissioner Sample. I would also, Commissioner Sample's comments kind of got me thinking about this. From the safety of the employee standpoint, there are other options. I believe you could have a activated carbon respirator, negative pressure respirator. You could have a self-contained breathing unit. I mean, we need to consider all of our options because that may be more cost effective because we're sinking a bunch of money into an operation that is moving forward. There's a big question mark in my mind on its financial viability. Huge for me. So anyway, that's my opinion.
SCBA, you'd have to require your personnel to shave. You'd also have to make sure they go there and get lung capacity tests. And
Yeah,
it still doesn't address the assets themselves, physical assets for equipment.
But it's caustic to the machinery too. This is
Exactly.
acidic. It eats up, doesn't just eat up people's lungs, it eats up the machinery.
H2S and
too,
H2O creates H2SO4, which is
so
sulfuric
you-
acid.
yeah, even though if you protect your people, your machines are
Yeah.
still.
And that's the big thing. The people right now they're safe. However, you want to make sure that we can get ahead of it. You want to make sure that we take and maximize it, like any type of asset management. You want to maximize life expectancy of all your equipment. And this is another portion of that.
Point of clarity.
Commissioner Smith?
This this resolution of intent is then followed up by the CPW board, right?
Correct.
And then at that point, a more detailed resolution would probably be coming forth, and at that time, you could maybe provide a little better or more exacting definition of the use of proceeds.
Correct. This year's get the ball rolling.
And then my last question is, or I guess comment is, it's not uncommon to do a resolution for some bond amount, whatever it is, $20 million, and then the actual bond be floated for $1 less than that, based on the final resolution of the board with the detailed use of proceeds.
Correct. This is a not to exceed.
What's that?
Thank you.
Further comment? Any questions? I'll close discussion. We'll go to roll call vote.
Commissioner Fiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Domas,
Yes.
Commissioner Sample,
Yes.
Commissioner Nakagiri,
Yes.
Commissioner Drick,
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We're now on to item number 6 on the agenda entitled Accounts Payable Reports. 6.1 reads claims dated October 15, 2024. 6.2 reads payables dated September 14 through October 4, 2024. Can I get a motion for both 6.1 and 6.2?
So moved. Support Gross.
Motion by Domas, support by Gross. Any comment, discussion? Seeing none, voice vote. All those in favor kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The count is 9-0. It is approved and passed. We're on to number 7, which is our second call to the public in the evening. Have you any cards for people in the room?
I have one card, Douglas Helserman, Handy Township.
Very good.
Today I saw this article, and it's from a faithful contributor to the Democrat Party who has had a change of heart. And I thought that there's a list of 32 reasons why he's thinking differently. And I've never seen a list like this. And so I'd like to read it to you. His name is Bill Ackerman. And this was from the American Liberty, if you want to look it up yourself. Reason number 1, open borders and on-screen immigrants. Reason number 2, economic policies causing inflation. 3, poor Afghanistan withdrawal. 5, excessive regulations hurting business. Number 5, loosening bail laws. Number 6, decriminalizing shoplifting. Number 7, limiting fracking and raising energy costs. Number 8, DE policies based on identity. Number 9, promoting gender ideology in schools. Number 10, encouraging protest and closing schools. Number 11, supporting anti-American, anti-Israel protests. Number 12, raising anti-Semitism. Number 13, mandate untested vaccine. Number 14, suppressing free speech. Number 15, politicizing the legal system. Number 16, defunding the police. Number 17, subsidizing ineffective technology. Number 18, government overreach. Number 19, ban gas cars and stoves. Number 20, ignore terrorist killings. Number 21, withhold aid to allies. Number 22, weak Iran sanctions. Number 23, removing terrorists from the list. Is that it? Well, that's 23. And my patriotic friends either have to say this is misinformation or they have to explain why they support these things. If you want the whole list, it's available, so.
Any further cards?
I have no further cards.
Anyone on Zoom?
I do not see anybody, Commissioner.
Neither do I. Roll, call to the public number 2 for the evening is closed. We're at item number 8. It's a closed session. The wording is discuss pending litigation, 44th Circuit Court, 53rd District Court, Livingston County Probate Court versus County of Livingston and Livingston County Board of Commissioners, case number 370043. Parent MCLL 15.268, parent E, closed parent, closed parent. Can I get a motion?
I move to go into closed session for the previously mentioned reason.
Motion by Fiani, is there a second?
Support, Gross.
Support by Gross. Roll call?
Commissioner Fiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Domas.
Yes.
Commissioner Sample,
Yes.
Commissioner Nakagiri,
Yes.
Commissioner Drick,
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 9-0 to go back.
For sure you're gonna, what was that?
Thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, we are at number 9, adjournment.
So move, Hauserman.
All those in favor, kindly voice vote, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 9-0, we're adjourned.
See you Monday.
See you Monday.